Old Trafford was roaring with belief and anticipation as Manchester United faced Athletic Club in the decisive second leg of the Europa League semi-final. Holding a comfortable lead from the first leg, Manchester United entered the match with confidence, but the visitors from Bilbao were determined to fight to the end. The first half ended with a brief scare as Athletic struck first, but that only ignited the Red Devils' fire. The second half saw a thrilling turnaround. First, Mason Mount showcased his composure and sharp instincts in the box, slotting home a vital equalizer after a crisp interplay on the right flank. Moments later, Casemiro rose above the rest on a Bruno Fernandes set-piece and thundered a header into the back of the net. A goal that not only reclaimed the lead, but reaffirmed United's dominance in the tie. Then came the moment that truly sent Old Trafford into a frenzy. With 10 minutes remaining, and Athletic pushing high up the pitch, Manchester United launched a lightning counter-attack. Højlund, always hungry and never far from goal, latched onto a through ball, shrugged off his marker, and coolly curled the ball past the onrushing keeper. It was his second goal of the tie, and perhaps the most symbolic, as he sealed a 3-1 victory on the night, 6-1 on aggregate. The final whistle blew, and the stadium erupted. United were not just through to the final. They had done it in style. On the touchline, Ruben Amorim, a figure of composed brilliance throughout the campaign, allowed himself a rare moment of unguarded joy. Appointed amid uncertainty and pressure, he has not only stabilized the squad, but brought a spirit and structure that the fans had longed to see. His commitment to pressing football, tactical discipline, and trust in youth have turned him into a fan favorite. And now, with United marching into a European final under his guidance, the dream is very much alive. Supporters sang Amorim's name as the players applauded the crowd. For the fans, it wasn't just a win. It was a symbol of belief restored. Despite their advantage from the first leg, United knew better than to relax. Athletic Bilbao, proud and unyielding, arrived not to play the role of underdog, but to challenge destiny itself. They struck first, silencing the Stretford end momentarily. A sharp strike from the edge of the box rippled into the net, turning up the pressure and reminding all in red that no tie is ever safe in Europe. But pressure, for this version of Manchester United, is no longer a problem, it's fuel. A swift response built on purpose halftime came and went, and with it came an awakening. Amorim made no theatrical gestures, no wild changes, just subtle instructions, calm words, and trust in his players. And then, like a rising tide, United began to overwhelm. The equalizer was inevitable. Mason Mount, reborn under Amorim's guidance, found himself at the heart of a beautiful passing move. Crisp triangles opened a lane. The ball fell kindly to Mount at the top of the box, and he swept it home with precision. The crowd, so used to nerves, now roared with joy. The noise barely had time to settle before another moment came. A free kick near the edge of the box. Bruno Fernandes stood over it, eyes scanning the chaos in the box. He floated it in, and there was Casemiro, leaping, commanding, unstoppable. His header was a thunderclap, crashing into the net and hammering a message to the continent. Manchester United were not just here to reach the final. They were here to conquer it. And yet, there was one more act to play. As the match drew to its final stages, an Athletic Club threw men forward, space opened in behind. A slick interception and a line-breaking pass was all it took. The ball landed at the feet of Højlund, Manchester's new heartbeat up front. With time to think, with defenders chasing, and with thousands watching, Højlund raced forward. His first touch was clean. His second put him clear. And his third, perfection. A clinical finish across the keeper and into the corner. 3-1 on the night. Ecstasy. Old Trafford erupted. Not just in celebration, but in recognition. This wasn't just a young striker scoring a third goal. This was a symbol of a new generation, a new energy, a new belief. Højlund stood before the crowd, arms raised as if to say, "This is our time." Ruben Amorim the quiet flame behind the fire. As the players embraced and fans sang, the cameras found the man who had made it all possible. Ruben Amorim didn't pump his fists. He didn't race down the touchline. Manchester United will now prepare for a dramatic Europa League final showdown against fellow English side Tottenham, a clash already being billed as one of the biggest nights in recent club history. And as the spotlight turns to the final, Amorim's Red Devils look ready to write a glorious new chapter.
Man United boss Ruben Amorim responds to Arsene Wenger over rule change. Former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger has called on UEFA to stop pushing Europa League winners into the following season's Champions League, as United bid to put their domestic nightmare behind them by taking the backdoor route back to Europe's top table. Ruben Amorim responded to Arsene Wenger and insisted Manchester United are just following the rules, as they stand 2 matches away from a remarkable return to the Champions League. Both United and Tottenham have endured miserable domestic seasons, with the pair sitting in the bottom half of the Premier League. United are currently 15th and guaranteed to have the ignominy of their worst ever Premier League finish. But with both sides on course to reach the final after strong first leg victories, United lead Athletic Bilbao 3-0 after the first leg, while Spurs lead Bodo Glimt 3-1 ahead of their reunion in Norway. One looks set to play in Europe's premier club competition next term. That would mean there will be 6 English teams in the Champions League, with the Premier League's strong coefficient ranking already ensuring that 5th place will be in next year's competition. Former Arsenal boss Wenger, now FIFA's chief of global football development, suggested it is not right that the winner of the Europa League is rewarded with a place in the Champions League while doing punditry for beIN Sports on Tuesday night. UEFA made the decision to offer a place in the competition as a reward for victory in the Europa League back in 2014, and the Frenchman has called for that to be reviewed, believing the policy is unfair. They, Europa League winners, should qualify automatically for the Europa League again, but not necessarily for the Champions League, especially when you're in the Premier League, where already 5 teams qualify. I think it's something for UEFA to think about and to review. On the other hand, people will tell you that to keep the Europa League focused, interesting and motivated, you need to give them that prize of qualifying for the Champions League. Ruben Amorim has delivered a measured but firm response to Arsene Wenger after the former Arsenal manager questioned the fairness of allowing Europa League winners into the Champions League, as Manchester United prepare to take a backdoor route to Europe's elite competition amid a historically poor Premier League campaign. Wenger, now FIFA's chief of global football development, made the comments while working as a pundit for beIN Sports earlier this week. The Frenchman, a longtime advocate for structural reform in the game, argued that UEFA should reconsider the 2014 rule that grants Europa League champions an automatic berth in the following season's Champions League. Wenger suggested that with the Premier League already likely to send 5 teams to next year's competition due to its high UEFA coefficient, allowing a 6th team via the Europa League distorted the spirit of qualification. They, Europa League winners, should qualify automatically for the Europa League again, Wenger said, but not necessarily for the Champions League, especially when you're in the Premier League, where already 5 teams qualify. I think it's something UEFA should think about and review. But Amorim, speaking ahead of United's Europa League semi-final second leg against Athletic Bilbao, was unshaken by the criticism. His response was direct, diplomatic, and grounded in pragmatism. I just know the rules, Amorim told reporters at Carrington on Wednesday. If people want to change the rules, by all means. But these are the rules, and the rules are that you win the Europa League, you go to the Champions League. So we will follow the rules. I don't think a lot about it. He added, I know that the Champions League is for the champions or the best teams in the leagues. We are just following the rules. Manchester United, currently languishing in 15th place in the Premier League and on course for their worst ever finish in the modern era, have seen the Europa League as a lifeline in an otherwise miserable season. Their 3-0 first-leg victory over Athletic Bilbao at San Mamés has placed them in firm control of the tie, and barring a dramatic collapse, they are just 1 match away from a return to European football's top table. Asked about Wenger's comments on Wednesday as he faced the media ahead of Thursday night's semi-final second leg against Athletic Bilbao at Old Trafford, Amorim said, I just know the rules. If people want to change the rules, by all means. But these are the rules, and the rules are that you win the Europa League, you go to the Champions League, so we will follow the rules. I don't think a lot about it. I know that the Champions League is for the champions or the best team in the leagues. We are just following the rules.